house and took a nap, was what
Took a
Grandma
nap,
would say, and then the
everybody,
baby died.
Yeah.
And that was Pop's brother, maybe?
Right. So that when that was before, I believe that was before he was born.
Got it.
So he was he was an only child, even though he had
Right.
what would have been an older brother.
All right, so Pop was raised was he in Highland Park in Detroit? I know that's a big,
Yes.
Is that where he was in Detroit?
Yeah, so it was like a little city in the city.
Yeah, that was the Irish section. Like when I lived in Detroit, Highland Park was the Irish, and then there was a Polish section of town. It was like these neat little kind of segregated areas where the different pockets lived. So he grew up in the city then. He was right in Detroit.
Yeah, he was.
And did he just get his undergraduate degree at University of Detroit?
Yes.
And was it an engineering degree?
Yes.
I don't remember him being like a big tinkerer. When he was young, would he like fix stuff? Was he that kind of an engineer? Was he good with his hands? Was he a handyman?
Well, what he worked at was that the company, it was part of, New Departure was a part of GM, right.
Yep.
And they sold, the product that they sold, he would go to people who had bought the product who were having problems with how to work it, how to make it, and he would show them how to do it.
In terms of like his intangibles.
But I don't remember him being we're talking about my father now, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember him ever being, he fixed things.
What did he like to do?
He loved to read.
Yeah.
Loved to read. He loved from the time that I was pretty little, we had a boat. And he loved to be on, to be on the boat and to, do that kind of thing. He was a great reader. I remember my mother, and he was sort of quiet. And I remember my mother saying to him all the time, "Bruce Dempsey, would you please stop reading and, do this with me, pay attention to me." So he was kind of a quiet guy.
So he liked to read, he liked to bow.
And he played the piano by ear. In other words, he could play, he could pick up any tune and play the piano.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did he encourage you girls to do with, like, what was his, did he try to influence you to follow anything in particular?
Everything. He didn't have to influence me to read because I love to read. And he was kind of not the most intimate father in terms of talking and all of that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But doing stuff, like going out on the boat, swimming, and he was there a lot, but he was also not there a lot because he traveled on his job and was usually gone for like Monday, Tuesday, and then usually back on Wednesday, and then back, for the weekend. So he was gone, he was not gone for long periods of time, but for short periods of time.
You were born 9 years after Miriam, so
Correct.
she was, and then 12 after Pat. So Pat was born in 1933.
Mm-hmm.
So Pop and Grandma were probably 35 or so.
My mother was 37 when I was born.
And is Pop older or younger, or the same age?
Same age, basically.
Okay. When did they retire? How old were they when they retired?
He retired young. He retired when I think he was like maybe 58, 60.
So he retired pretty young.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were able to do that because in addition to the income from him working, and she kind of worked here and there and everywhere, they did a lot of investment in real estate. And
Right.
a lot of their income came from the real estate.
Okay. In terms of your sisters, what was the dynamic like between you and Pat? We'll start with that, since she was the oldest. Was she like a second mother? Since she was probably 15
I don't
when you
remember
were
her
3.
ever teasing me or being negative with me at all. She was always very good to me and just a really good big sister. Miriam was a little more, I wouldn't say she was terrible, but she was a little more obnoxious. And the three of them, they got along pretty well. Well, I have to say, they got along well, but they used to fight a lot too. And that was a little thing, and I used to watch them and laugh at them when they would chase each other around.
What was Pat interested in doing?
She was quiet. She was, again, a great reader. She had a boyfriend in high school, and then Johnny, the guy she married in college, and so she was always, from my memory, always had a boyfriend who was always also very nice to me. These two men, one and then another, and she was popular.
Where'd she go to high school?
She went to Bristol High School.
So that's not a Catholic school,
There
huh?
was no Catholic school then.
So
in
you
Bristol.
went, and so Miriam went there too?
Yes.
And did Pat go to college?
Pat went to the College of New Rochelle.
Did Miriam, where'd she go?
Miriam went to Marygrove, where my mother
Right.
lived.
And you went to the College of New Rochelle?
Yes.
So it sounds like Pat wanted to be her father and Miriam wanted to be her mother.
Well, and I don't know about wanted to be, but we're more like that. We're more like personality-wise.
Did Pat have any hobbies outside of reading? Was she an artist? Did she dance? Was she sporty? Was she political?
I mean, it was sporty. Yeah, they were very good at sports. Very good swimmer. She taught swimming. The both of them were very good swimmers. Mm-hmm. And
where did you learn to swim?
I learned to swim, I think, at my grandfather, Papa, he had a cottage at the shore in East Hartford. It was around New Haven. And that's where I believe I learned to swim. I don't remember not being able to swim.
Right.
But I think it was there.
But it wasn't a pool. You guys all learned to swim.
No, it was in the ocean.
It was all swim in the ocean. Okay.
Yeah. No pools. Yeah.
So Pat Pat was a swimmer, a reader, reserved, had a boyfriend forever, and was very nice to you.
Yes.
Okay. And tell us about Miriam.
Miriam was much more outgoing than Pat. She used to tease Pat long. I can remember her singing. Oh, Patricia, I love you, Patricia. You make all my dreams come true. And, she was like that. She was fun, too. But I think that my being born was probably a little hard on her because she was the baby up until that point.
Sure.
And very outgoing, big personality. I don't think either one was better loved than the other one, but they were just very different people. They looked very different, I think all three of us don't really resemble each other, and they were very different.
Yeah, I would say so.
And I think as they got older, they became much better, got along much better with each other.
Got it. So Pat, what'd you go to college for was she going to be a teacher as well?
I don't think that was her first, that's what she ended up, she did become a teacher, but I think she was more into history, and being, that school was a great place to go because you walked 10 minutes, you got on a train, you went to the city.
College of New Rochelle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all did a lot of stuff in the city. And it was... What was your question?
Well, I guess what was Pat's plan professionally? Or back then, was it just sort of like, hey, I'm going to find a guy and have kids and raise them?
I don't think it was going to... I think that the education was serious, but also my mother always was like, it's gonna be a lot easier to find somebody to marry when you're still in college than after college, you know.
Okay, so that was part of it too. It's
So it's
what
definitely part of it. And I think it was much more, I think that whole stuff was very much more a part of everybody's life than it certainly is now.
like I was thinking. But back to Grandma. She was one of 10, so
Right.
there were
She was the
6
oldest.
girls and 4 boys.
5 and 5.
5 men. So she was the oldest girl. I
Right.
know there was an older brother.
Right.
And did all the girls and all the boys go to college?
No.
I know Eddie didn't go
Let's
to
see.
college, right?
My mother went. Romy did not. Claire did. Claire went to the next sister. Also went to Marygrove. Let's see who else.
Eleanor and Nellie, did they go?
Eleanor went to business school for a couple of years. Nellie did not. And that's it. That's
But
all
what about
five.
the boys? I know Eddie was a military guy.
Yeah, I don't think any of them went to
Did Donald
college.
go?
I don't think so. I don't think any of them went. Any of the
Can
boys
you
went to
name
college.
all 10 of them?
Yes.
Let's go. Say them all.
Okay. The oldest was my Uncle Joe. And no,
And
the
what-
oldest was my Uncle Danny.
Yeah.
Daniel. And then next was Joe. And then next was who?
That's Rosemary, right? Your mom was
My
third,
mother was
right?
right. My mother was next. And then Donald.